All right, so when we're working, today we're going to work with getting a common denominator, which is a review. We've done this before. So our first two problems, we are adding or subtracting. So remember, adding or subtracting, you have to have a common denominator. Multiplying and dividing, you do not have to have a common denominator. So if you think back to intermediate, when you found the common denominator, that sometimes also was called finding the least common multiple. So if you ever remember listing out your multiples, and then finding which one was the smallest number they both went into. Do you guys remember creating those multiples lists and doing all that? So if you look at, you're looking at between 5 and 6. So I'm going to abbreviate common denominator with CD. If you're looking at between 5 and 6, what would be the least common multiple that they both go into? The smallest number they both go into. What did you say?
30.
30, yeah. So 30 would be the smallest number that would both have 5 or 6 as a multiple. So my common denominator would be 30. So in order to change 4/5 into 30ths, I need to multiply 5 by what? 6. So I'm going to take my numerator and denominator times 6. I have to multiply both of them to create an equivalent fraction. So that's going to give me 24 over 30 plus, and then now I need to convert 1/6. So what would I multiply 1/6 by? 5. So I'm going to take my numerator and denominator by 5. So I would get 5 over 30. Yeah, so now I don't add my denominators. Do not add your 30 and 30. It stays 30. Your denominator stays 30, and then you add your numerators. So 24 plus 5. And you get 29 over 30. And then check to see if it can be simplified. And it cannot. Okay, so we're going to go through the same process on number 2, but we are subtracting this time. And we have mixed numbers this time. So when you're working with a mixed number, I would choose to make it improper first. That's what I would do. So make 2 and 1/6 improper. What would you get? 13 over 6 minus, and then 2 and 2/9 improper.
21 over 9.
Yeah, 20 over 9. Okay, so then I need to look between 6 and 9. What's my common denominator, my least common multiple?
18.
I agree, 18. Okay, so then to get my denominator of 6 to be 18, I need to multiply it by 3. So I'm going to multiply my numerator and denominator by 3. And what's that going to change to? What over what?
39 over 18.
39 over 18 minus, and then I need to multiply, I need to get my 9 to be 18. Multiply the numerator and denominator by 2. So I would get 40 over 18. And then I have to subtract. So 39 minus 40. Negative 1 over 18. Okay, so on the next two, on number 3 and 4, we're actually going to have a common denominator. So that's going to make things a little bit easier. But we do have some mixed numbers. So I would still convert your mixed numbers into improper. Or you could go through it without. That's your choice. You could keep it mixed, or you can convert to improper. I generally just teach for you to keep it improper, but if you can see what the answer is going to be and leave it mixed, that's fine too. Okay, so if I convert 1 3/5 into improper, it would become 8/5 plus a -2/5. So my fifth is going to stay the same in my denominator, and then 8 plus -2 is 6. And then I need to convert it back to a mixed number. Malachi?
1 1/5.
1 1/5. Okay. All right, so number 4, I'm going to do the same process, make it mixed. So 3 and 11/12 would become
37.
47.
No, 47.
47 over 12 minus 31 over 12. And then I subtract. And then I get, what's 47 minus 31? I heard 16. And then I need to make that a mixed number. So 12 goes into 16 how many whole times? 1 whole time with how many left over? 4 twelfths left over. And then that could be simplified 4 twelfths. 1 1/3. Okay, so now I'm going to have you try 2 that involve getting a common denominator. So number 5 and 6, you would try those. Okay, so when you get both of your answers, actually neither one of them can be simplified anymore, but you would have to do that if they could. But that's what you should end up getting. If you happen to have chosen a different common denominator other than 24, like let's say you chose 48, then you would just end up having to simplify and you would end up getting the same answer. You would just have to simplify when you get done. But you should still end up with the same exact thing. Okay, so for number 7 and 8, we're going to substitute first and then go through a problem like this. So we are evaluating n minus 11/16 for n equals -1/3. So -1/3 minus 11/16. So I would need to get a common denominator. So I know my multiples of 3. I wouldn't start with your multiples of 3 because those should be really quick facts for you. I would start with my multiples of 16. So can 3 go into 16? No. So my next option would be 16 times 2, which is 32. Can 3 go into 32? No. So I'd go up one more. 16 times 3 be 48. Can 3 go into 48? Yes. And 3 times what is 48? 16. So my common denominator is 48. So I would have to take -1/3 times 16. And then I'd have to take 11/16 times 3. So that would be negative 16 over 48 minus 33 over 16. So negative 16 minus 33 is what?
What's my bottom on?
Well, yep. Should be 48.
I was gonna say, you don't have to know.
Sorry. Okay, negative 16 minus 33, what do you get? It's going to be further negative. Negative 49. Okay, so then now I have an improper fraction. So, yes.
1 is negative 1. And 1 is
48. Yep. Okay, so we're going to go through the same process with number 8. We're going to substitute first. So 5, 6 minus 4/5. And 30 is going to be your common denominator. So I need to multiply 5, 6 times 5 and 4/5 times 6. And I would end up with what? 1/30. Okay, so next we're going to do a word problem, which you wouldn't have to write down all the words, just follow along. All right, so 2 hikers on the Appalachian Trail are 5 3/4 miles from the trailhead. The hikers cover 2 1/8 mile before taking a break. Then they hike another 1.5 miles before taking a second break. How many more miles do the hikers have before reaching the trailhead? So think about what would be my operation here. Like, what am I going to do with these numbers? So think about it like this. If I went out this morning and ran 1 lap on the track, and then I go out after school and run 5 laps, how many laps did I run? 6, right? What'd you do with those numbers? Add them together. Yeah. So if I already ran 6 laps, but I told you that I need to run 2 miles today, how many laps do I have left? 2 laps, right? If I need to run 2 miles today, then I have 2 more laps to go. I subtracted my total that I've already done from the amount that I need. So I'm going to need to add 2 1/8 plus 1.5. I need to add that. So we can actually, so if we convert these to improper, 2 1/8 would become 17 over 8 plus 3 over 2. And then what's my common denominator? It's actually 8. It could be 16. You would just need to simplify. 16 isn't wrong, but my least common denominator would be 8. So I would actually not have to change 17/8. I would only have to convert 3 halves. So I'm going to multiply by 4. So 17/8 is going to stay the same. And then 3 halves is going to become 12/8. And then I need to put those together.
1 minus.
So I so far have hiked 29/8 of a mile. Okay, so the trailhead is 5 3/4 miles. So I need to figure out how much I have left. What would I do with those numbers? Turn 5 3/4 into an improper fraction first. So that would be 23/4. And then what do I do with that? I'm going to have to take a times 2 to get a common denominator. So I'm going to subtract 29/8. My common denominator would be 8 again. So I need to take this times 2. So I would have 46/8 minus 29/8. So 46 minus 29, 17/8, and then convert that to 2 and 1/8, and then that would be miles left, right? Your homework assignment is page 21, 22, and you have odd, all, and all. You also may see that written as O for odd and A for all, just like E means even.